Ta-da. Okay. So, Mav, thanks for talking to me today. Listen, just as a quick intro, it would be great if you could say a few words about what you are up to in the world.
Okay, so I'm Maff Potts, and I'm part of a movement called Camerados, which I started in my bedroom 6 years ago, and which is now reaching out across the UK and the world to get people to look out for each other more and get through tough times.
And in terms of your personal, I mean, obviously that sounds really lovely, but what was your personal motivation to found this movement, this community?
To found the movement, I think I'd spent 20 years trying to turn around people's lives that had been very, very tough lives and realised that all the things that we do are, well, it doesn't work and there's something missing. And, what we all need in life is friends and purpose. And that was never present in my work. And so I just, it was a very simple reason. I just wanted to do something that worked. So I just wanted to do something that made a difference to people. That was it.
And for you personally, because obviously you didn't just found Camerados, part of this movement, and you have a whole team around you, and there are hundreds, if not thousands, people somehow involved in different places, especially in the UK. But how has it changed you personally, and how is it affecting your life to be part of Camerados?
Well, I've had to unlearn an awful lot. I spent many years being a project manager, delivering, getting things over the line, outcomes, and having to let go of that and get out of the way and let people organically grow and enable themselves has been a really tough one for me to learn, but hugely rewarding. And I hadn't realized just how straitjacketed and kind of fixed and restricted I was in my sort of delivery, really. So it's been hugely liberating. I feel like I've become much more human.
Yeah, that's wonderful to hear. And actually, I have a question about that later. But maybe firstly, what advice would you have for people who are longing to belong more, who are feeling isolated and lonely, who lack the friends factor that you were talking about earlier?
Well, there's a really important distinction that I've learnt by working with people, and particularly these last few years with Camerados. There's a difference between what you do when times get hard and what gets you through when times get hard. What you do is you hide under the duvet in bed and you watch Netflix and, you detach. And, that probably feels good for a day, maybe even 2 days. But, after a while it becomes the problem, because ironically, the very thing we need is other people and a sense of purpose. So as counterintuitive as it sounds and impossible, the thing to do when times are tough is go help someone else. Go be with someone else. Go have a cup of tea with someone else. Talk rubbish with someone else. Do not be alone. Try and find it in yourself to do that. And what happens is you come out of your own problems. You feel like you've got some agency, some ownership over this, and you're not alone. And that I've just seen that work time and time again.
And that really links back also to the second thing that you mentioned, purpose, right? So the moment it's not just about you anymore, you're actually supporting somebody else, that whole purpose thing is activated in us in a beautiful way.
Yes, you get friends and purpose in one hit when you look out for someone else. You get both. There's no bigger purpose, which is why if you see somebody really, really struggling, the best thing you can say to them is, hey, can you do me a favor? Can you help
Right.
me out?
Yeah.
And it just switches it.
And Matt, to go back to something that you said earlier about what you learned founding and then being part of this movement, is really a description of what I would call emergent leadership, right? So instead of having a leader or a few leaders, to really look at what is the capacity of each and every person to become a leader in their own right. So that the question for me is, what do you know about building such a community of emergent leaders that you feel organizations could actually learn from?
Yeah, I think I'd started maybe over the last 10 or 15 years to have an inkling about servant leadership and how that worked. And I used to talk about servant leadership a lot. But I think it's when you get involved in a movement, I guess you take it slightly to the next level, which is leadership without you. You know, if you can be as talented as you want and, you know, lead people across the river, and you can have a certain amount of success with that, absolutely. But if you want to have exponential success, it can't rely on you. And so, you know, you've got to inspire. What we do at Camerados in our team is we inspire people, we resource them, we connect them to each other, but everything else, the delivery, is them. So we're just like inspirers and nudgers, really, and enablers. And that's not always easy because the human brain wants to fix all the time. It wants to problem solve all the time. Huge compulsion to do that. And the number of times my colleague Jenny and I have gone there and then gone, whoa, oh, hold on. Let's ask them what they think. I mean, the biggest example here is you, Nadia. When the pandemic hit, we just put out there a question. We wanted to say, here's what we're doing to solve the pandemic for Camerados. Instead, we put out a question and we said, we don't know what to do. Help. And Nadia in Berlin is in the movement. And so when you have a movement, you have 1,000 brains, 1,000 ideas. And you came and you gave us an idea and we started, and that helped us stitch ourselves together. And I think if you see leadership less as about your qualities and about all these amazing qualities that exist in the people you work with and harnessing them instead, then I think that's maybe just I think it's more profitable.
Mm-hmm. And Maff, when people get together, and we both know that very well, friction is created, right? So there is no frictionless organization, no frictionless movement. And I'm wondering, you and your team, for example, you decided to take some of that friction, which, for example, can also come up around subjects like money, right? Which is because it's always a scarce resource in many ways, and how it's being distributed and all of these questions. And we all bring our own baggage with us around money. And you decided to go through our CU Money program together with your team. And maybe just generally, what value do such shared experiences, also shared learning experiences, have from your perspective in building community and in getting better as a team?
Well, I think CU Money should be for teams. I mean, I've not experienced it as an individual, so I wouldn't know, but I would really encourage people to come with 4 or 5 people they work with and all do it together. Because I would say that for us, that was perhaps the richest part of the experience, was that through the lens of money, we were able to talk about suddenly deeply personal things, things that we didn't know about each other at all. One particular team member, my perception of her completely flipped in a rewarding and good way, and it's made our ability to work together much better, actually. And she became very honest because the questions were there, and we were in that. You had created that spirit of just being open. The thing I like about CU Money is, it's just very straight and matter of fact. It's like, we're going to be grown-ups and we're going to talk about difficult stuff. It doesn't try and manipulate or pretend. It just gets to it. And by using money is also it's a fact. We got to eat. And so if you root it in something like, there's no getting away that we need it, then you get to the heart of things quite quickly. But then, amazingly, money is a jumping off point for my parents, your parents, my childhood, my sense of guilt and shame and all of this stuff, And I witnessed other people on the course having quite extraordinary moments. One woman I'm still in touch with just had this extraordinary epiphany in a breakout room about her family, and I'm watching her on Instagram become more and more liberated since the course, which is a wonderful thing. So, yeah, it's not a lens I would have ever picked myself, but it's quite genius.
So thank you for this heartfelt endorsement. That's wonderful. And my final question would be, what is advice you might have for leaders who want to deepen the sense of belonging for, especially, for example, minorities within their organizations? What could they do differently that is sort of low threshold?
Low threshold is really important because I think people, yeah, people can have great values and great ideas, but actually doing it on a Monday when it's cold and you've got other things on is so that's a great point you make. Well, what we believe is making space and time for people to be okay to be rubbish. I don't know if this translates to other languages, but to not be successful. Every corner of our life is geared towards showing success, and it would just be great to have a little oasis where we're just alongside each other with tea and biscuits, and we're not succeeding right now, and that's okay. That's something else that CU Money has in common, I think, with Camerados, is accepting that side of our personality as being all right, and we absolutely repress that. And I think that does a lot of damage. So we have a badge in Camerados which says, "I'm a bit shit sometimes." It's our most popular bit of merchandise because when you see a badge that says, "I'm a bit shit," everyone goes, "Yep, me too." Boom, connection. So just create space where it's all right to not succeed. I mean, go and succeed later. And there were some meetings where you really need to, and that's fine. A doctor's got to fix a broken arm, a mechanic's got to fix a car. But, sometimes we just don't need fixed. We just need company.
Wonderful. Matt, thank you so much for being with me today and sharing your thoughts on leadership and emergent leadership. And we'll be connecting soon.
Thank you.